Let's go. Good morning, my friends. It's your old pal PeaceLoveMusic with another episode of the Let's Go Good Morning Stack Show, brought to you live by DeOrganized Media in partnership with our great friends over at BitcoinLive Decentralized Broadcasting. It is Wednesday, hump day. Whoop, whoop. Get over the hump. We've got so much going on every day. It's amazing. So much so that there was an AMA in our space yesterday afternoon. I totally didn't know anything about it until afterwards. And I'm just kind of constantly trying to follow everything that's going on. It's impossible to do so. It is Wednesday. It's the 11th of June. We have so much happening. We should really feel really good about. So I'm feeling really good about the extent to which the community is engaging, specifically over SIP 31, but even more generally in everything going on Stacks. There's so much cross engagement between shows, protocols, builders, apps, projects, people pitching in, people helping out. It's actually such an amazingly beautiful thing going on in our ecosystem. Super bullish, super bullish on Stacks myself. Bitcoin, Stacks, crypto, and humanity because of it, actually. Feeling good about humanity because of all what's happening in our ecosystem right now and all the excellent humans that we're able to bring together and work on such great stuff. Friendly reminder, I'm backwards now. This friendly reminder, guys, share out the live stream. It really helps us grow. It's very important if you believe in what we're doing here, promoting the ethos, the Bitcoin ethos, the decentralized, distributed, trustless, permissionless, censorship-resistant, borderless, open source exchange and communication ethos. That is really an advancement for humanity and humankind to be able to own yourself, like really. And that's what's being built here by people that are interested in facilitating that specific ethos. That's actually why I think it's going so well or going the way it's going with such collaborative and consistently intentful for helping others grow and produce value where they can. It's happening. Friendly reminder, this is a news and information show. Sometimes we're providing some education, some entertainment, maybe a little inspiration and positivity for your day, but never financial advice. Always do your own research. Never invest money you cannot afford to lose. And actually, I think these numbers are a little bit low because I got them about a half an hour ago, and the CPI number came in a little while ago, and print came under expected, which is sending the markets up a little bit. So Bitcoin's actually closer to 110 than it is at 109, 129 as of about a half an hour ago. Stacks was at 69.89, just under 70 cents, dropping to number 71 by market cap on CoinMarketCap. Fear and Greed Index slightly up to 65. And the top three gainers on CoinMarketCap for the last 24 hours are Kaya, JTO, Jito, and SPX 6900. Go Staxy. She's the first person I ever heard talk about that, and she's very into it. So huge shout out to Staxy, and hope she's having a great day with her bags a little pumped. When you stack STX, the native token for Stacks, which ties Stacks to Bitcoin through the proof of transfer mechanism, when you stack your stacks, you earn Bitcoin. You can stack your stacks with as little as 100 stacks. So $70, you can get some 100 stacks, participate in the stacking, securing the programmable layer on top of Bitcoin, which is Stacks, and earning native Bitcoin rewards SBTC is programmable Bitcoin for DeFi on Stacks. Stacks has fast, low-fee transactions, proof of transfer, security, and native Bitcoin rewards. Tell your friends. In the Stacks DeFi world today, Hermetica is offering 4% yield on USDH. That is a dollar stablecoin backed by Bitcoin. It's actually tradable or acquirable on both ordinals, layer 1 and not ordinals, runes layer 1, runes tokens layer 1, and Stacks SIP10 tokens on the Stacks layer. And you can earn yield over at hermetica.fi. 4% today. It goes as high as 25%. I've actually seen it anomalously higher, closer to like 60 plus percent in some circumstances. But usually it's between 10 and 25%. It's at a little bit of a low. You can check them out over at hermetica.fi. You can also programmatically or automatedly DCA into Bitcoin, Stacks, runes, and more effortlessly at bitflow.finance. And now they have flex pools, which allow users to provide liquidity in any ratio, single-sided liquidity pairs, starting with STX, STSTX. Talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Over at Bitflow, Velar has PerpDex live. Now you can engage in PerpDex trading, stake your Velar, pair your favorite tokens with SBTC, earn yield, and trade tokens on Velar. Protocol is a Bitcoin native DeFi protocol enabling cross-chain swaps, bridging, and payments in BTC. Zest is offering 4.09% on SBTC. You can earn 4% on your Bitcoin right now just by bringing it onto the Stacks chain and over to Zest protocol and earn 4% by depositing it and leaving it out to lending it out. The highest yield at Zest today is 36.51% for USDA token. That is a big number. That number fluctuates a lot. And over at Stacking DAO, you can earn 8.35% on STX with STSTX liquid stakes token, which you can then deploy further into DeFi, like on Zest. 8.98% native yield in native Bitcoin rewards with regular traditional stacking. Or you can also earn 8.11% with yield in SBTC with their STX BTC product over at Stacking DAO. And the top 3 token gainers on Stacks on stxtools.io for the last 24 hours are DMG, POS, and PBTC, the Pontus Bitcoin derivative. What's happening on Stacks today? Let me check the schedule. I'm in molasses today, guys. Yesterday was a long day. We got a lot going on today as well. We opened up the morning again with the whatever morning space. If you guys haven't jumped in, I know it's a little early for some of you, but the best part about it is it's hosted by Binta, and you cannot help but hear Binta's voice and just feel better. She brings the positivity and the sunshine in her voice. And it's every day you can do that at 8 a.m. It's just great conversation. It's an open conversation. You can find out what's going on in the day or just kind of get started with some good vibes at 8 a.m. As always, we do our Monday through Friday Good Morning show starting at 8:30. At 9:30 most days, we have Xenitron coming on to do Find to Earn. But the Game Master is actually going to touch some grass in the underworld today. So we will not have Find to Earn rounds. It will continue tomorrow. I have to talk to him. I'm not sure if we're doing double rounds tomorrow, if we're saving that for something else. But there will be no Find to Earn. We're just going to talk through until we're done talking and then end the show. At 11 a.m., I will be at the Zest Hall community call with Gnome and GP and all the Chads from the Zest community. We'll be chatting around what's going on in the ecosystem. And then at 3 p.m., there's Building on Bitcoin with the Bitflow crew. I will definitely be joining in that as well. Huge shout out to Dave and his All Things Crypto show at 5:30. You're definitely missing out on the alpha and the vibes if you're not catching that show. I think they're on 4 times a week. I'm not sure I think they take Friday off. So it's Monday through Monday through Thursday at 5:30 for them. And then, as always, DeOrganized nightly at 7 p.m. with GP and the crew. We had an awesome show last night. Greg Hale, one of the technical producers for the Blair Witch Project, came on. He's got a new project called Battle for Hala. I think I got it right. And he's got a story, and it's going to be an interactive ordinals-based game. He's working with the Trio crew right now. Rozar came on. I guess he's working on something with maybe there's some coordination there with his Blaze subnet project and Trio. Well, we'd love to see that as well. Let me, that is the calendar. Let me just double check the stacks.co/explore/events. I think there was a proof of talk. Paris is still going on. Session two for the workshop today is at, no, that's not session 2. It says it's from today through Friday. Something's not right on here. I'm not sure. You see full forum post. Let me actually just make sure I know to be added. Session 2. Please fill out the form based on session 1. So you actually have to go. Hold on. Let me actually. Which one did I do? I want to make sure I'm in for this. Although I have to do the, I'm going to be in the Zest Hall as well. I want to make sure I'm participating in that one as well. I didn't see that. So I'm going to actually do this right now while I'm live with all of you guys, just to make sure. I think I had, yeah, this is the one I want to use. Let me actually go through this. I have to put my email. Please put the following indicators of a good nominee in order from most important to least important. This is your opinion. Okay. This is a lot. Okay. So nomination has a BNS address. That is important, I think. Nomination has spoken publicly in community spaces. As a proxy, if you're showing demonstrated track record of trying to connect and understand. Yeah, I think that's important. Skilled communicator with an open mind, data-driven. Yes. Nomination has run a node. Minor signer. I think that is valid. Nomination was active before these requirements were put out. I think that's nominations hold BTC. Nomination is active contributor to a project. I think that's a good one. I think that's actually better than that one. Nomination has a history of contributing to stacks that includes unpaid or volunteer work. So this is all criteria for the appointments committee nominees. So there's going to be 7 people on the appointments committee, and these people will pick the treasury committee for the newly established endowment with SIP 31. That's going to be, assuming it passes for vote, which I believe it will. So I'm just kind of going through, and this is actually, you guys can get this link right on stacks.co/events, and you click on the event for the session 2. And you guys can actually all go in on this too. You just got to put your email address. You might have actually had to have participated. There was about 20 people from our community in there yesterday. Nominee has run a community chapter. I think that trumps a BNS name. Nominee holds BTC. I'd actually be more, I mean, they should, but baseline stacks exposure. I think that's more important. Let's see. Subject matter expert. That sounds like a good one. And on-chain history showing engaging, and that's actually probably even one of the more important ones. On-chain history. Yeah. All right. Has experience with DAO or governance is actually a good one too. Let me throw that one up a little higher on my list. All right. Oh, number 3. Okay, I don't know how many things are going to be on here. In terms of the final overall mix of people selected to the appointments committee, it is important to me that they contain a diversity of tenure in the ecosystem, contain a diversity of geographic representation, contain a diversity of skill sets and background, contain a diversity of holdings, community groups is a good one. Okay. I guess that's really all right. All right. I've submitted my feedback, so I should be able to participate in that call later. I'm sorry I wasn't expecting to actually do that live. Let me jump into the news real quick. I'm going to read through this quickly. Uniswap native token Uni surged more than 18% in the past 24 hours, reaching $8.43 after SEC Chair Paul Atkins made favorable remarks about decentralized finance, encouraging regulators to adopt a fair play stance. This marks a significant sentiment shift, suggesting a more constructive regulatory approach to protocols like Uniswap. The price breakout also saw Uni shatter its February highs, leading a broader altcoin rally as confidence in DeFi markets rebound. Good news. Bitcoin traders anticipate retest of 107K. Market analysts say Bitcoin's recent rally could pause around the 107K mark. As traders prepare for potential resistance, BTC is up nearly 2% in the last 24 hours, with price action cooling slightly after tagging 108. This seems like old news. Thanks a lot, GPT. I got to be careful. I don't want people to think when I'm talking smack about Chat GPT that I'm talking about GPSC. There's a little bit of a resonance there, and it's not the same. GP always comes through. GPT, not so much. Crypto exchange Bullish, backed by Peter Thiel and Block.one, has submitted a confidential IPO filing with the SEC. According to the Financial Times, this move signals renewed institutional interest in digital asset infrastructure. The company recently merged with Far Peak Acquisition and previously held over $2 billion in balance sheet capital. If approved, this would mark one of the first major IPOs from a centralized crypto exchange since Coinbase. Kind of interesting. It's always good to have competition in the marketplace, and I think Coinbase definitely needs some. And this seems like it could be a legitimate competitor to Coinbase. So that would be a good move. Yeah, GP, we can actually. That's a good suggestion. We can do that after. Let me just screw through the news here. But yeah, I think that's. I missed your point. I missed your post when I was going through. I should have probably shared my screen. He's right. Best producer in the business, by the way, on top of many other things. Bitcoin upgrade. No shade to Nick, by the way. Nick's doing a great job too. Bitcoin developers are preparing an upgrade that would increase the data limit of op return scripts, allowing more complex types of content like images and documents to be stored directly on the blockchain. That's big deal. This enhancement could expand Bitcoin's functionality for NFTs, decentralized identities, and file verification systems. The move comes as part of a broader effort to make Bitcoin's base layer more versatile without compromising on decentralization or block space economics. Huge. I love that there's all this kind of development going on in the ecosystem and on main chain and stuff. There's some really smart people doing some really cool stuff in Bitcoin and in crypto, and we're just at the beginning. We are very early. ETF flows on June 10th. Bitcoin spot ETFs experienced a net inflow of $431.2 million. That's a huge inflow after outflows. It's just slashing in, slashing out, slashing in, slashing out. crazy. BlackRock captured most of that with 336.7 million in inflows. Ethereum spot ETF saw a total net inflow of $76.5 million on the same day. Fidelity's FETH recorded the highest single day inflow of $42.3 million, followed closely by Bitwise's AETH with 28.9 million in inflows. So BlackRock's not collecting as much in ETH. They're getting all the Bitcoin. Fidelity, Bitwise, ARK taking the ETH. ARK's actually more interested in Bitcoin too, I think. SIP31, big deal. We're leveling up the ecosystem. It's coming. The money's coming in to get a lot of stuff done. And right now the conversations are designed to get as much influence on that process by the community as possible. It's been actually really amazing as far as all of the inclusion, all of the contributions, lots of different perspectives provided, which makes the project better. We need more, and we need to continue this forward with all the other stuff we're doing. There are other SIPs proposed. We need more conversation about those. These are everything's important if it's in a SIP, and especially if it's going to be changing our ecosystem and it requires a vote. We need you guys to get involved in that regularly. So number one, SIP call every Friday, usually at 10:30, unless we have to shift around times to accommodate specific SIP authors or specific participants. But we are always doing this. Every Friday we have a SIP call. Get involved on that. Come on the show. Comment in the live chat. I think we're going to start incorporating maybe spaces afterwards too, depending on if there's further discussion that needs to happen. Get involved. Get involved in SIP 31 conversations. Get involved in any conversation. Anything that interests you. Don't hold back. The more the merrier. This is an inclusive, big tent ecosystem on Stacks. We want to represent everybody in all of these things. But we can't do that if you're not participating. So join in. Huge shout out just to some of the amazing projects in our space. Zero Authority DAO with their V2 launch. There's tons of bounties over there right now. Get over to Zero Authority. We'll have some coming up soon with DeOrganized, by the way. BoostX is changing the game with their BoostX product that allows basically social integration with Stacks transactions, Stacks tokens, Stacks NFTs. You can airdrop tokens or NFTs to people in a space with space drops. It's even incorporated into Discord now, and more functionality coming. Love BoostX. Rosar is just building amazing stuff with Charisma on his platform and his Blaze subnet project and all the cool stuff, the meme roulette and the op predict project he had, and it has a bunch of cool stuff going on over there. Fact Fun. Make sure you're heading over to Fact Fun if you're interested in new meme coins or if you're looking to mint a meme coin project. Also, shout out Stack City. Similar ideas, doing it a little bit differently. Multiple options in the marketplace on Stacks for multiple different things, and it's all functional now. Real DeFi on Stacks. BNS1 is the place to get your BNS name. You hear us talking about .btc, .stx, BNS names. Definitely the place to go for that. Find to Earn is the game. We're not doing them today, but it's really cool stuff that Xenitron's integrated with his Skullcoin project. There's more to come with his Strike project. Really cool stuff coming from Xenitron, the Game Master. Also, when you have a chance, check out the Stacks roadmap. You can head over to stacksroadmap.com, I think is the website, the main website. And you can learn all about what's actually coming from the ecosystem as the main level, and then all sorts of other stuff coming. We got Boom Wallet. There's a bunch of projects in Stacks Ascent, and Big Market with their prediction market coming. I'm sure I'm leaving some people off the mark right now, but huge stuff happening in Stacks, and we're really excited about it. Let me bring on the homie. Stop rambling. What's
Good
up, Jim?
morning. Let's go. What's up, man? You're not rambling. You're keeping us in the know like you always do. What's up, man? High frequency vibes always.
Good morning, man. Thank you. I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, man.
My Goonie shirt on because we never say die.
Let's go, dude. I love the shirt.
That's you guys don't really ever see the bottom part. It's not just about the skull. Plus, all my boys, my older boys, especially when they were younger, they started adopting. They called each other goons. Yeah. So once I saw the shirt, I had to buy it.
Dude, they've got a whole different. They have a whole different. Like that means something completely different nowadays. If you're a goon, you're a gooner. Like.
What does that mean? Tell me. I would love to bust my.
It's let's just say like it's kind of perverted.
Well, that was. I mean, they've been calling each other goons for like a while, like a couple decades.
Oh man, but everything gets like it's kind of crazy how words like the meanings of words change over time. What's up, Mel? Good morning.
Hey.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm okay. I fell when I was hiking.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bad?
Yeah. Like down a steep sort of thing. So I've like hurt my back, the bruise all over my arms, my legs, like rolled. It was like a disaster. So I'm now sitting on the couch with hot water bottles everywhere. So I'm pretty cozy, actually. I know.
Sorry to hear
Can
that.
you hear me? No, it's okay.
Yeah. I can hear you better now that you got closer to your mic.
Yeah, I'm just, the only thing is I'm very sad that I won't be able to hike or do yoga.
You just gotta rest for a couple days. You give it just a little bit. Yeah, but it throws off the routine.
Wait until you get to my age, and then you hurt yourself.
33-year-olds think.
Yeah.
It's easy for you. That was me. That was me in my 30s. Yeah, but not at this age, honey bunny.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
At this age, it's like, oh dear, you're gonna be down for about a month just because I like bumped my elbow.
This is it.
Oh no, not the elbow.
I'm never recovering.
No, and then you worry that it's like, okay, this is not going to be sore for. That's like what happens when you get old. It's beautiful.
It is. My old man's going through that right now. Like I took him to the hospital, right, because he has a pain in his side, and he got like a CAT scan and like all of that done. We were up very late, and then the doctor said, like, dude, you're looking pretty good. You're looking pretty good, and like I guess he was sitting in his chair wrong.
Yeah, that's it as well. It's crazy.
Yeah, man.
And I'm like the princess and the pea. I like it. My husband always laughs about it because it's like, ow, that hurts. Now I'm like sore for. I'm sick. You have to massage my back. I can't cook dinner. It hurts. Anyway, so yeah, how are you guys? So your dad, is he okay? GP?
Yeah, he's good. He's good. So like, he got a what they call is like a AAA stent. It's your abdominal aortic artery. It's a very main artery. He got a stent like about a year and a half ago, something like that. And so that's been a bit major like source of his anxiety because like every little ache and pain, he's like, oh shit, my stent, right? So the doctor said that his stent has healed up very, very nicely. The aneurysm is actually smaller, so like it's a major like anxiety relief for me, and I would imagine for him, of course.
Yeah, so it's with his heart.
Yeah, so he's got some. It's an artery. It's an artery, and then he has high blood pressure as well. So like he goes with that. He's had a couple strokes, but yeah, he's the doctor said that he's in good shape, you know. So that's good, even though he's
How old is he?
pain.
Is he still quite young?
Yeah, he's like 6. It's like he's yeah, I think he's 60.
How old?
61.
Okay, so that's super young.
Yeah.
When you're 63. How old am I? I'm 65.
5-year-old ever.
No.
Yeah. 65. I'm just gonna stay 65 until I'm 66.
Well,
Yes.
my mom, by
Please don't
my,
say your mom is 65.
No,
Well, I'm
my-
not really
my mom
65.
is past-
You
way-
guys are making me
way
believe
older.
I'm 65. My
once my
God.
mom turned 36, that's how old she was. Forever. For like
Yeah.
probably about like 2 decades.
I'm telling
She's
you.
like,
And
"No,
Anna
but
always says,
my brother called her on it after he got a little bit older. He was like, "You can't still be 36." I'm like, 10 now.
yeah. Yeah, man. That's why I don't believe in numbers. Days. When I said yesterday I don't believe in time and dates, I add age to that as well. So that's specifically my thing. It's just like it's either alive or dead. Those are like my two options.
If there was no time and there was no aging, there would be no movement and there would be no growth. We have to grow and move. So we have to grow old.
I don't know.
Say
I'll
la
let you
vie.
die young.
Who wants to live forever anyway?
Right?
Who wants what? Live forever.
Yeah.
I don't want to live forever. Remember that article I wrote about like eternal consciousness and like how fearful, like the more we put into an algorithm, like the more of ourselves it draws into itself. So we eventually start having like almost like a digital clone of ourselves.
Yeah, that's what people are doing nowadays. They're
Yes.
like uploading their consciousness.
Remember we were talking to you on that space with Crow the other night.
Yeah. Like,
Exactly.
It's a nutty concept to think, you know, and like I brought this up that like Bruce Willis actually sold his likeness for I can't remember what country it is, like where, who, where, what, why. But they have this consciousness, like not his consciousness, his likeness, so that they can now use AI to like replicate him in movies, and then so he doesn't even have to be there to be acting in a movie. Insane.
So crazy.
Ray Kurzweil has been trying to figure out a way to download consciousness since before us 65-year-olds were even born.
Who?
Ray Kurzweil.
Oh, it's not fun. Peace, this is what I'm obsessed with. I'm obsessed with the idea. I mean, that's why I wrote that article about eternal consciousness, because I've been obsessed with this also for years. The idea that our consciousness will become like a file. You know how am I making like a echo?
I'm hearing it. You're not hearing it, GP? Like it sounds like it's
Every
coming.
now and then.
It's probably my speaker. Honestly, it's probably just a bit loud, so you're probably hearing yourself through my mic.
Maybe some feedback, GP.
Is that better? Try to talk now.
Hi, hello, blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, maybe yeah.
Sounds good to me. That's like
Yeah, it's better now. What's this?
Yeah.
I want to see if I can find a book about it. Hey, guess what I just did? I opened my phone and I remembered. God, I don't have ADHD, as you can see. It's like vroom, vroom, vroom.
I do.
just did.
Apparently, never diagnosed, but
Yeah. Oh no, but that's what I'm being
please
sarcastic.
diagnose me as ADHD.
Yeah, that's what we are. You can't be on the show unless you're on the spectrum in some way or the other.
Yes.
Okay. DeOrganized Spectrum Media.
I think that's just humanity.
I just did I read tarot cards. So I just did, but I haven't in years. And then I just found them on my bookcase. And I was like, okay. So I just did a reading for myself, which I will read later. But I want to write down that person's name in my Audible and see if I can find a book. What's the name?
Ray. Last name is Kurzweil. I believe it's Kurzweil.
Oh yeah. He's like the second Ray when you go.
He's also the creator of Kurzweil keyboards.
Oh wow. So he's got books, How to Create a Mind, The Age of Spiritual Machines.
He became very, very affected and he's been working on how to simulate consciousness since the 70s.
That's like a full-on obsession of mine as well.
It's such a crazy concept because then like once you get into like Robotics.
Sorry, GP, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
Oh, you're good.
transhumanism he's considered one of the
Yes.
transhumanists.
Okay.
Think about
So
like
I'm
whenever they get
interested
robotics done, right? And then like you insert your consciousness into a robot.
Or there's just these digital worlds and realms that you go in and experience, and actually that's just where you are. But maybe that's
The
what
Matrix.
now. How do you know where it's not? Maybe it's just very
I
sophisticated.
mean, if you think about it, couldn't somebody, I mean, because people, like if you look at plastic surgery, right? It exists, and say, for example, you like break your nose, or you do something where you actually, or you burn yourself and you need a skin graft, and you need, so it has its purpose in there. But then if you like doom scroll on social media and your algorithm gets a bit fucked up, it's like just people who've had like, massive cheekbones put in and just like insane stuff. So they take it too far.
Right.
So you're going to get those people who have like, we're going to have like, it's sort of, what's the word? Dysmorphia. And people are going to think like, I want to be my avatar in my game. So I play Fortnite, say, for example, every day. No, but I'm not saying this happens, but I'm saying this could happen, like with
That's a
people
crazy
who,
concept. Like conscience dysmorphia. That's
yeah. And then you look at like you just play your game so much,
And
so
people can really just be whatever they want.
yeah.
But then where does your uniqueness come in to play? Is it unique, or are we even unique
one of
We
the
all-
other articles I
just-
wrote.
in different manifestations, experiencing a self?
That's right. So the other article I wrote is, that the saying "know thyself." It's a Latin saying that's, everybody knows that, right? So the other day I was lying here and I thought to myself, with the algorithm's going to be the person. So historically, before we had an external ability to think or generate ideas or whatever, we did it all ourselves. So you got to know yourself before you can go forth and do whatever you got to do. So the other day I wrote an article and I wrote in there, know me so that I may know myself. And it's about you becoming, or the algorithm becoming you, and your thoughts like manifest or the algorithm actually manifesting your thoughts. Even now, we can sit with your phone next to you and then you can go onto social media and there's ads about what you've been talking about. Have you ever experienced that?
All the time. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Or what my
Exactly.
wife's been talking about. Like it does, it's crazy. It actually is very crazy. Like the extent to where the hive mind, it's all an illusion. Our separateness is an illusion. The phone is us. The internet is us.
Yeah.
So getting to know ourselves is actually out there because it's really all emanating from internally anyway.
That's why I took 5 years off, right? And for half of that, for like say 2 years, I never left the house. So I never set foot off my property. I never read a newspaper, watched TV, looked at social media, nothing. Because I wanted to know who I was. I wanted to know very clearly who I was before I got involved with living in the future kind of thing, like we do now. And so that the algorithm couldn't sway my mind, if you know what I mean.
Well, but here's a mind blower. The algorithm is actually a reflection of you too.
Of course, the algorithm is you. And
Right.
and eventually I was listening to a podcast where they were saying, or reading something I was reading, and they were saying that eventually, say now I want to date somebody, right? And I've got 2 guys that like me. And unless your data is completely privileged, i.e. sovereign, i.e. yours and locked into just you, I will be able to ask the AI which person I should date. And the AI will say something like, it will be able to access that person's files unless we fix it by doing what we're doing. And it will say, well, that guy, he might be good looking, but these are his flaws. And I know you prefer good looking guys, but these are all the reasons why you won't actually be compatible. These are the statistics why your relationship won't work. So even though this guy isn't as good looking, he's this, this, and this, and this. So you will have a better relationship that will make you happier.
But wouldn't the AI, which is a collective consciousness, actually work to put the best two specimens together to provide the best outcoming progeny?
Yeah, but I think that we're going to just do externally. They're already doing that, where they take out crappy genes in the, before they even put the egg in. Eventually, you'll be able to just go and have a menu and just say, like, I would like my child to be, we're going to make superhumans. Humans are going to become like superhumans.
Sure, but then
if you're rich.
So it's kind of like, at that point, you're actually shooting yourself in the foot as a species, because you're ruining the diversity of the process of different genes in the gene pool, which might facilitate even more superhumans down the line, or better traits.
But you won't be able to do it if you're poor.
Well, you can. It's pretty cheap to make a baby. To raise a baby, it's expensive.
I know. God, I look at people who've got I can't imagine what it must be like for you. I look at people who've got like 3 kids, and I'm like, what? Imagine.
It doesn't matter. I can never make enough money, is really what it boils down to. Because fortunately, my children are very, like, my adult children are successful. They make more money. Most of them make more money than me right now. So it's they're capable, and they're self-sufficient, and they're productive. So they're actually, people are individually economically viable. That's a fundamental basis that we don't actually. Let's kind of touch on, since it's topical. Let's touch on the immigration situation in the U.S. Because there's huge feelings on both sides of this issue, and I have a government has every right. A national government has every right to establish. What's up, Michael? Good morning, sir. A national government has every right to establish immigration policy. But in general, the principles that the United States was established on, a free and open society, well, people should be able to come and go freely. You shouldn't have to be born here. You didn't have to be born here to come here. The Pilgrims came. Nobody invited them. And they was actually not necessarily warmly welcomed by everybody, but they came and they established, and then, so on and so forth. It was rather permissionless to come to the U.S.
Yeah, I think the old immigrants are mad at the new immigrants.
Right. Well, but back to my point, which I actually said before you came in. Humans by nature are economically viable. We have all of human history that satisfies that as being true. More people doesn't mean less resources to go around. It means more economic productivity and capacity to produce more, not less. Don't get me wrong, there's finite resources, but the necessity to survive and thrive is very, very abundant. And so more people equals more economic output, more economic capacity. We need more people for our economy to competitively grow with other nations that are also increasing in population volume. So there's the principle of a free and open society the people in a free and open society should be able to come and go as they please freely. And
I agree.
It's not the rule of law right now in our country. And so you can't just act that way because you feel like you should. But I do think that we should be kind of more towards that end on the immigration scale. I don't agree with mass deportation of everybody that's here under the illegal status. I do agree with murderers and rapists and violent criminals being dealt with accordingly. We do that very well as a society, probably to an over degree, an excessive degree, but those people do need to be handled and dealt with, and we have the mechanisms in place to deal with that. So just do it, just do it. But it doesn't have to be. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We need more people, productive people that want to actually work and come here and be productive members of society. And the only reason they can't actually be as productive is because of this kind of subjective legal status or illegal status that causes more harm than good in most cases. A violent criminal, you can arrest a violent criminal whether they're in illegal alien status or not, because they've committed a violent crime. You don't need to. The immigration status is secondary, in my opinion.
Yeah, and also, if you want to, we have that problem in our country. People coming on through the borders, and then because they come in the back, that like in the backs of vans and all sorts of stuff like that.
Right.
But they are such hard workers, so they are then taking the jobs from the locals, right?
They're
And it's a
creating
case of-
jobs. They're not hard workers. Don't take jobs.
No, but they do. They. So we in South
But they
Africa.
also earn money, and they have demand too. They demand. They have if they're earning money and they're working hard, they're producing goods and they're creating demand with their money. They actually create jobs too.
No, not if they're unemployed. We've got, the South African unemployment rate. It's like 60-something%.
I would wager that government regulation is the cause of most of that unemployment, because because it's hard to create businesses. It's hard. There's a lot of red tape. It's more expensive than it needs to be. So people can't generate as much economic activity as they otherwise would if they were left the hell alone. It's not because immigrants came and outworked you and took the job. Because more people, so I'm a realtor, right? More people means more demand for houses. It also means that there's more competition for people that want to work in real estate. But there's more demand for more houses. So that means houses go up in value. There's more incentive for new construction. New construction means that they're buying goods and resources, and that puts economic activity. More people means more economic capacity, more economic activity, and there's no two ways about it.
You see, I'm talking about sort of domestic workers, people who like factory work, people who haven't either finished school or definitely don't have a tertiary education and who live in. We've got massive, like townships where the houses are all made of corrugated iron and cardboard, and so those are growing and growing and growing and growing. And what's happening is the people who traditionally do those jobs are being taken by people who are crossing the border from like Zimbabwe or whatever. So you find you're going to get like radical unemployment with the local folk. So that's what happened with us. So, and we know the attitude, it's hectic. It's really, but yeah, I understand your point very much as well, but those people have to be able to have like jobs where they can afford to buy a house or whatever. And very often those people are living like below the breadline or.
Well, and sometimes it's necessary to sacrifice at certain times in order to get ahead. They may be living more frugally because they kind of have to get to where they want to be. And they're willing to do that because it's a better opportunity than where they are. And they're able to come because there is a demand for workers. They wouldn't be able to go and get a job. They wouldn't even be attracted to come there if there weren't open jobs available to them. And that's
the point is if you are a shit worker and somebody enters the room, the country, the building, wherever, and works better than you, then sorry, my friend, then
Improve your marketable skills if that's what happened. If you can't get a job because somebody else was more qualified, then your responsibility to yourself is to improve your marketable skills so that you can get a better job with better economic and financial outcomes.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of also, there's a lot of entrepreneurial stuff that goes on, in these areas where, like I said, it's just these large areas with not really much services.
That's also something
But they kind of sell things on the side of the road.
there's
You can go here, you can drive along the road, and there's people selling
entrepreneurship.
oranges. Huh?
Entrepreneurship should be more encouraged. Speaking anecdotally, okay, I'm speaking anecdotally, but my father's family, Italian immigrants, my great-grandfather and his mother acquired a piece of land. They were raising their family. They actually were buying milk from the neighbor. The neighbor was like, hey, why don't you just buy one of these cows? You're always buying milk from me for your kids. Why don't you buy one of these cows? And they bought a cow, and then they bought a couple of other cows, and they started producing milk, and they were selling milk. And by the time I came along in the late 70s, the business was actually winding down. But they had built throughout the early 1900s until the 70s, they had milk trucks, they had a bottling processing plant. My great uncle,
cool.
father, they had a dairy. It's called Cranston Farms Dairy. This is the town I live in, grew up in. Next to, you guys might have heard of Cumberland Farms. Cumberland Farms actually was a competitor out of Rhode Island. They're a huge national company. Like, they have a big sign at Fenway Park. Cumberland Farms is a giant organization, and they actually kind of screwed up the milk delivery industry by creating their milk stores, because they could actually sell their milk cheaper because there was price controls on milk. You couldn't sell your milk below a certain price, but you could if you were selling it in a store. So Cumberland Farms kind of put some stress on the market there. And then my aunts and uncles and my dad and their generation was convinced that owning a business was too hard, and the thing to do was to go to college and go work for a company, because it was more stability. You got regular income, you got benefits. And that generation was talked out of continuing the small business atmosphere that our country was built on.
Isn't that crazy? But that's like what we were talking about yesterday, how we tell a story over and over and over again until we talk our existence into being, because that happened. I mean, my brothers and I talk about it. It was, you kind of, if you weren't going to be a doctor or an accountant or a lawyer, then you were considered like a black sheep of the family, and you should just go and live on the street.
Right. And it was because it was partly by design with some of the larger established entities that wanted to consolidate. Big business can make a lot of money by taking smaller operations and putting them together and streamlining processes. And maybe that is good for some aspects of the economy, because you're creating efficiencies and you're being more productive with less resources. But you've extracted the ownership balance of society on the mechanisms and rails of the economic system. So there's a trade-off there that's not as apparent. The value there is not as apparent until you lose it. And you're looking at it as, we used to own all of this land where there's this giant bank and there's this office building and this other office building, and we don't own any of it now because they didn't know.
Isn't that annoying?
That's why I'm in real estate.
To buy up small. I said to my son the other day, listen, my job as your parent is to make sure that you are kicked off in life. You can go forth and do what is going to make you happy. Because Anna and I are entrepreneurs and we live this kind of, we love our life. You know, I don't want my son to be like in a corporate job, you know, busting his balls day in and day out, because I've seen what it does to people, you know. Anyway, so I said to him, no, it's my job to like set you up for life so you're cool. So I said to him, you have to live at home until you have bought your first apartment. I'm saving up the deposit for you, so I'll be able to, when you finish school, give you a deposit, and then you get a job and you rent it out to pay your bond, and you pay the same amount in. So then you're going to own an apartment and, you know, other things I was telling him. So then I said, and once you've got that apartment, then you must buy, once that one's paid off, so you do that in say 5 years, then you buy another apartment. And anyway, then I said, and you can just keep carrying on doing that and until you actually get enough rent to live off. So he looks at me, goes, what? I can just buy houses and people pay me to live in them? I'm like, yes, that is what a property tycoon or magnate is. He's like, done. But yeah, I wish somebody had done that for me, you know, like allowed me the thing of like, I've got an education, I've got somewhere to live, I've got transport, and then I can do what I love. Well, I mean, I do what I love, so that's, I don't count, but no.
Well,
you know.
it's part of that's, you know, I didn't have that either, by the way. Like nobody put me through school. I had kids little, you know, so I was young and I had kids. So I mean,
You had kids little.
I did. You know, I was not quite 19. That's little. No way. Like,
No way.
The more I get, the more astounding that becomes to me, and how amazing my kids are actually too. Like,
Don't you look at your 19-year-old and go like, how?
Every time I see my kids, I'm like, I had 4 kids when I was their age. Like they have none, and they're very well adjusted and high functioning and good people. But I can't imagine them handling it. I can't imagine them handling it because it was, you know, sometimes it's. I tell people I'm a wizard, and I say it because I make things work out, and I don't know how.
Yeah. It's just, you know what it is? It's faith and trust in the universe. You know, if you...
What else can you do? What else can you do? You don't know what's coming.
No, you just got to sit here, get a camera, get a computer, just live in it. It's lovely.
That's right. That's right. I don't know if you guys heard, but Xenitron is touching some grass today. So we will not have any fine to earn. We can just talk about whatever. Michael, this is the quietest you've been. How are you doing today, man?
Hey guys, what's going on?
Oh, there's that voice.
What's up?
Hey guys, what's going on?
What's going on? I've been you guys heard of Model Context Protocol? I might have mentioned it before.
Can you elaborate?
I've heard of it, but yes.
So, you know, we're all used to using ChatGPT, right? Where you type in things, and you know how sometimes it has that thing searching the web, right? And it'll search the web and get stuff. So, that's an example of how Model Context Protocol actually works. MCP, or Model Context Protocol, allows you to type chat messages into your AI, but then it can leverage APIs like the Google Search API to give you search results and look through them. And so I found that there was an XRP MCP server, so I tried it out, got it working. And I was like, okay, if I can get the XRP one, I wonder if I can get the Stacks one. I got the Stacks working, and I just got the Solana version working. And so this is just a long story short of saying, it's now a lot. Snake told me that if it's worth doing anything on Stacks, it's making it easier for people to program money. If we're going to do anything, it's to make it easier to program money. And I'm finding that Model Context Protocol, or MCP, makes it easier for me to quickly, without knowing or reading the docs, create a scenario where I can actually create a Stacks wallet from my computer. Like I'm creating it from my computer, and Paul sent me $1 and it works. So that's why I've been a little autistic today.
Why are you building a wallet? What you got planned for the wallet?
Well, we talked to Good Vibes, right? And Good Vibes has Good Vibes Capital, and their ability to pick meme tokens on Solana is really rocking right now. It just hasn't stopped for the past 4 to 6 months. And so, in thinking about how might we, use the data for the blockchain to make automatic trades with, wallets that follow, computer code, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, so that's why I've been kind of deer in the headlights.
What
Like,
do you mean wallets? That
trade.
just sort of give that to me. Like I sort of also
Sure.
zoned out a bit reading what was on the computer screen.
Okay, so you know
Sorry.
how you have a wallet in your pocket?
Oh, a real wallet.
Yeah, you know how you have a wallet in your pocket with money, like credit cards?
Yeah.
So what if you could put a little AI inside your wallet and it just started growing your portfolio of money because it was smart?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would have that. Thanks.
Yeah,
I'll-
so that's what MCP allows us to do. Before, typically to interact with a blockchain, you have to go to the docs of the blockchain and then learn a bunch of stuff and install a bunch of things. But now with these MCP servers that allow us to type chat messages and actually talk to the Stacks blockchain, oh man, what can't you do? So yeah.
That is crazy. That is
Yeah,
some
They
crazy
have one
ass
for
shit.
Roblox too, by the way. They have one for Roblox. You want to create something in Roblox? Type in this chat message. It'll connect to the Roblox MCP server and start creating solutions. So,
So
again-
what do I do to what do we do to do that?
oh, so GPSC, can you in the Google search just type in or piece Roblox ROBLOX MCP server?
Server.
Yeah, so take a look at that.
Oh, there's a Reddit. Whoops.
Yeah, the first one, developers forum. This is what your son is gonna fall in love with.
Is this a new thing?
It is something that hit the web consciousness in full force about 4 to 6 months ago, and now basically every tool that uses AI to build anything is using complex coordination of MCP servers in the background.
So is it almost like an API for LLMs?
Yes. Well, it allows LLMs to talk to different APIs. So GitHub has an API, and Stacks has an API, and Solana has an API that gives you functions and data. But what if you could access those functions and data just from your little chat LLM window? I've
That is
recorded my screen doing this, so I'll share videos on this. But yeah, it's making it easier to program money.
So
is here.
It's contingent on the application you're looking to integrate having an MCP available publicly.
Yes,
Yeah,
but I will say
Most
this.
projects have that.
Almost every major software manufacturer now has their own MCP server because it allows people like me and us to program. It almost opens up these software manufacturers to the regular Joe Blow, because we don't have to onboard all of this information before we start programming in these environments. So like I said yesterday, I was able to create the XRP MCP server. Based on that, create the...
You don't have to train the model.
No, you don't have to do any of that. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's huge.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So I just
Imagine what life is going to look like in like
Yeah,
a
man.
year's time. We literally have got no clue on what. Like we're
I know
on the
what-
bus with Sandra Bullock.
Well, the other reason I'm doing this is kind of... So right now we have SIP31 that's happening. And if you look at the OPEX spend in the Nomic report, I don't think people might not be that excited about how much gets allocated to them from the first 100 million. So I was like, okay, so in a world where I can't get a job with Stacks Foundation, and in a world where I don't necessarily get funded from this stuff, how might I control what I can, which is what I do with my brain and my friends and my computers, right? So I was like, all right, so what if I wanted to create a wallet on my computer? You know, the most baby DeFi move possible.
The
Create-
wallet was really, you didn't have a purpose for the wallet except for it was the idea of something
Yeah.
that you use to build.
Yeah, build stuff. Hey, can I
Right.
build DeFi too? Is it only for like special people with like super autism on the shortest bus to build DeFi?
But now, here's an interesting question to that point. Okay, I asked ChatGPT if we can constantly create money in crypto, doesn't that eventually make it worthless? Because, right? So anyway, it says that yes, it can, but it depends on how and why the money is being created.
So wait,
How funny is
ask
that?
the
The first example is Zimbabwe.
What was the
I was
question?
just sitting here talking about Zimbabwe. Do you remember when I said people are coming from Zimbabwe?
Right, because they're
crossing the
just
border?
experiencing
And the
massive
first example it
hyper-
gives me is
hyperinflation.
Zimbabwe.
You're talking about if we can just create more money. The money has to have value. If you just like, that's why Pump Fund collapsed, because it became just massive inflationary meme token opportunities that eventually most people are losing. They're getting their wealth extracted. The people that have extracted that wealth don't need to keep playing. They're not going to keep putting their liquidity in because they've already extracted more than they need. So the value of that ecosystem becomes almost non-existent because there's no actual economic generation there.
Yeah, but look at this. Okay, so you've got a meme coin. So say now we talk about Rue. Rue is something that we all believe in because we're all in the community and we're going like, ooh, go Rue. We can now take that Rue and turn it into real money, like Bitcoin, and then put that Bitcoin in my bank account. So basically all you need to do here is the four of us need to say, let's make a meme coin. Okay, we've got a voice and you can't, you know, and then we speak to somebody about listening it or putting a liquidity pool together, or think about Rosar, what he can build eventually, where you're just basically making money for fun and then you turning it into real money. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, but you're gonna have there's a lot of regulatory there that puts a lot of I don't think you're gonna just be able to do that.
You mean I can't get my money from my kitty coin? I can't sell my kitty coin and be rich.
I think you could sell your kitty and get rich, but I'm not sure how much
I know I should.
I love Rosar and his innovations and his method.
Don't die of
doing
laughter, Blockface. I know what you're thinking.
You just need to add some charisma to your kitty.
What was I saying? No,
I forgot.
I just think that like Rosar's innovation and his idea of putting like a QR code with an intent on the subnet and creating a physical dollar coin for like Bitcoin Pepe is or Welsh, a Welsh dollar, like a physical Welsh dollar.
I mean,
It's
can't you
super
swap
interesting.
moist sock for real money?
What's that?
Can't
Can
you
it what?
swap moist sock for real money?
I can trade Moist Sock for STX or other tokens on.
Ah, that's what I mean. That's just like,
But here's the thing. I have a conundrum with that because if I sell my Moist Sock, the value will, or my dry sock or whatever, the value will go down. Like if I'm selling it, the value of my holdings will actually go down. So I'll actually be hurting myself unless I generate interest in it in some other way, which
good.
Adding
You
the
can sell your
liquidity
moist
to
sock
keep it moist.
Ethical-
STX,
it could have
and
some
put it in
ethical
the bank account.
implications though. Like if I start pumping dry sock just to pump it and then I sell and convert it to cash or convert it to Bitcoin, I'm not really a good person.
No, we won't love you on stacks. Unfortunately, the people who work on stacks don't care about money. Only joking.
So there's definitely financial and economic rules, just basic math rules that dictate that if you inflate a money supply, and Zimbabwe is a great example of this, if you inflate a money supply, the value of the money goes down, and then you can.
Did they inflate the money supply, or did they not know how to farm?
No, they inflated the money supply. You would have to go to the shop with like a piece of bread, loaf of bread just would cost like a wad of money.
But I thought it was caused that when they kicked all of the Caucasian farmers out, nobody knew how to use the tractors. Is that true? Fact check.
I don't know if there's any truth to that or not. But I do know I'm slightly more familiar with the situation in Sierra Leone, and only slightly, because I had a friend that had gone there, and the value of the money changes so rapidly, and they're like, the denominations are huge numbers, and they just, at one time, the government just printed a ton of money to pay for stuff, and it just devalued the value of the money. That's exactly what happened. The government it was irresponsible with money printing, which we have also.
The government in Zimbabwe was beyond horrific, and that's why there's a lot of people from Zimbabwe that come into this country, and they're the ones who are taking away the jobs of the local people, because they are such amazing human beings. So kind, such hard workers. Honestly, it's like they're amazing, but their country was just like pillaged to shit.
But actually, that's a win for South Africa, because you got to look at it from this way: the people that actually make it across the border have more skills than the people that can't make it. They're more functioning. That's why you're getting the best people. The people that can actually make it out of the bad situation and start somewhere else are the stronger humans. So you're getting the better people into your society. And while there is this short-term anomaly where there's less available jobs than there are people to fill them, so the trickle-down effect is actually economic expansion and growth.
Yeah. But now, the lady who worked for me, she worked for me for, I think, 9 years, right? 10 years. And when she first came to work for me, she had lost all of her papers, her passport, her education. Hey, are you in Zimbabwe? Hi.
What's up, assistant boyfriend?
Hey, I have a question about Zimbabwe, because I did some ChatGPT research, and it said the root cause of Zimbabwe's collapse was the seizure of commercial farms.
The seizure of commercial farms.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that.
You see, it's not. It's
boyfriend, fill us in.
Boyfriend, fill us in. Join the chat. You mind if I share my screen for a sec?
No, absolutely.
I'm always fascinated when ChatGPT plays obtuse Olympics with me. You ever feel that? Where it's being like, oh my god, it's insane. Like today, it gave me a bunch of news stories, and then it gave me links. I like to put links in the X thread, and like of 7 stories, 4 of the links were like bad links to like 404 dead links. Yeah.
What are you doing? I can't be sending people to dead links for these stories. And then it gives me the same links again.
I want to see if.
Or when I'm driving, I write articles often, because then I just sit and I kind of like brain dump while I'm writing, and then I say, okay, now read that back to me. And like, it just reads it back to me all the time. It's so lovely to hi, how you doing? I hope you're having a good day, etc. Just started the other day. Every now and then I'd write an article, and it would be like, I'm sorry, I can't read that.
All right, so here it is. Did Zimbabwe experience hyperinflation because farmers didn't know how to farm? Terse and pithy response. No, hyperinflation in Zimbabwe was caused by political mismanagement, land reform chaos, blah, blah, blah. Explain more. Land reform chaos. In early 2000s, Zimbabwe's government began forcibly redistributing white-owned commercial farms back to Zimbabweans. Okay, and I was like, wait, land reform chaos is exactly what I said. You're right to zero in on that, but not the sole cause. And I was like, wait a minute, yeah, but the root cause is when the commercial farms were seized and given to inexperienced farmers. Yes,
Right.
you're absolutely right. And I'm like, okay, well,
Oh, actually, that was part of the causes of the collapse, according to Boyfriend. The seizure of the farms and the violence against the white farmers
There
was
we go.
part of the cause. And so here's
Which is what's happening in
about-
South Africa now.
you're
We've got
talking about- yeah.
we've got property. So in South Africa, we have got you can take somebody's property. It's listed as property, which means my car, anything, without compensation.
That's part of there's a fundamental ethical moral problem with just taking something that belongs to somebody and giving it to somebody else on its face.
you need to have a duel.
But it's
Right.
not even efficient.
Sorry.
You need to have somebody that knows how to fucking farm
Yeah.
or do anything with land or be productive with it. You can't just say, oh, the workers own the factory now, and then the factory runs the same without the
Yeah.
managers. I know people want to believe that the owners don't actually earn their profits.
Right.
They take all the fucking risk.
Mm-hmm.
You have no risk as an employee. Your risk is mitigated by the fact that you get a paycheck every week, whether you perform or not, unless the business goes out of business. You know?
That's the thing, though. It's kind of like
Great
when you sell a company, you've got to stay on for a while and work there because that is what keeps the clients happy, keeps the whole situation rolling over nicely, right? So that is what they should have done. What they should have done is train, do it slowly, train up. But yeah, it is. But like I say, it's largely to do, which filters down from the government. Because if the government had done it properly, rather than just be like, okay, we're taking your land, but it doesn't belong to you, when in fact it does, because I worked, that only counts as if the farm has been in your family since the beginning of time. I mean, it hasn't been in your family.
Right. It's not.
Anyway,
there's a reason why people say the old adage that possession is 9/10 of the law. If you're in possession of something and you're using it productively, unless you acquired it via fraud or graft or some kind of violent means, you really should be left the hell alone. And otherwise, even if you're
and that's
not,
what war is. Make a war then, and because that's how everybody owns anything. Nobody
How
on this
dare you.
planet was born somewhere. What?
How dare you? Are you saying that a war is 9/10 of ownership?
Yes. Think about it. If you go back, how did everything get acquired?
I thought they
You win.
debated, and whoever was
Well,
more
even-
We killed
meritorious
people and
in the
stole their
debate.
stuff.
even the establishment of property rights are extended from, so you have either you're in possession of property and your capacity to maintain possession of it is what's there, or you're relying on the state to go and establish an ownership record, and then the state's power is what protects your ownership of the property. But the state draws its power largely from its capacity to wage violent force, especially the monopolized authorization of the waging of violent force.
Don't quote laws to men who have swords. Magnus Pompey. Yeah.
Guys, in South Africa, we've got a recent spate of people robbing Airbnbs. I don't know if you have that.
Whoa.
Yeah, so basically what happened, there was this luxury mansion in an area called, I think it was Camps Bay or Clifton or whatever. The houses are like millions and millions and millions and millions of value, right? These people rented or got like, you know, the house for the weekend from Airbnb.
Stripped it.
And when Sunday came for them to leave, they were like, no, we've been here. Because if you've been somewhere for like 48 hours, you've got like squatters' rights or something.
What?
I don't know what
Temporary ownership is 9/10 of the law. Temporary
So
possession.
they were just like, well, you can't kick us out. And nobody can drag you kicking and screaming out. So anyway, so they just stayed there. Then the other day,
That's bullshit. That's bullshit because your Airbnb contract is temporary. So you have an established legal document by engaging in the rental that you have a temporary ownership. So just staying in a house shouldn't. I mean, I don't know the local laws, but that shouldn't hold.
And we could always try it out. You think it might work?
But now, also the other day,
No, not until you try it.
the other day, the house near where I live. Sorry, somebody's just phoning me like relentlessly. They hired the Airbnb, and they came like at night when it was dark because they chose one, you know, with a key lock. So they just came with the key lock. They went in, and in the dead of night, they basically just spent the entire night robbing the place. Basically, took everything like a removal company, and then left. And nobody had seen them because they came late at night. They'd booked with fake papers.
So nobody knew until the cleaners went in after the Airbnb rental was over.
Where's our stuff? That
wouldn't have happened in our Airbnb because they had a ring. They had a ring camera so they could see us when we were going in and out. They probably had other cameras around there too, but who knows?
I used to rent my house out for movie, for movie sets and Airbnb. I mean, we'd get like, I don't know, like I think it was $5,000 or $6,000 a day for people to stay here over December, and then it's like $15,000 to $20,000 a day to rent it for a shoot. But then when I heard that first Airbnb,
dollars or rand?
Oh, rand.
All right, because I was like
$1,000 a day.
Which is still really good.
Film, yeah, for film crews, and then a day. So what would 5,000 rand and dollars be?
Well, if 20 grand is
it's
about
like 18 to 1. So you would divide it.
20 grand's 1,000. You could say that 500, 5 grand would be about $250.
$250.
Yeah, if it's about a quarter of.
No, that's not a lot, but it's a lot here.
Well, $250 a day is more than, or is about what our 6-bedroom Airbnb was in Vegas.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, 200 change a day.
Yeah, so it's kind of, but here that's a lot, you know.
Yeah, here it's, it's comparable to a nice hotel room.
Actually, I lie. Not in Cape Town. Everything is so expensive in Cape Town. They gave us for my birthday, one of my big birthdays. They gave us like a what do you call them? Like like a house basically, but there's a villa. It's like a villa on a beach in very fancy area. That villa cost R1 million a month for people to rent. People would rent it like longish term. R1 million a month. How much is that? Let's put it in my. Imagine.
R1 million a month. If it's 18, or let's say it's 20 to 1.
I'm putting it into my currency converter.
It's like 50 grand.
Yeah, 56 grand for a month.
Do it.
So 56, 1, 2, 3, divided by, say, 30. That's $1,900 a day. You don't even want to know what it was like inside that. You have like a you have like a butler. There's like the most expensive whiskeys and stuff in there when I used to drink.
Well, if you're gonna drink, you're better off drinking expensive. You feel better the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. With no find to earn rounds to kind of bring us an end to the show, we're at the 10 o'clock hour. We have the Hermetica hangout at 11 a.m. At 11:30 is the appointment committee session 2 starting. I will be on both of those. We have Bitcoin, building on Bitcoin with Bitflow at 3 p.m. All things crypto at 5:30, and then GP show at 7. GP, what else you got going on today? Anything going on in the Zest and Staying Down Discords?
So we've got the Zest Town Hall at 11 a.m. The Hermetica hangout was yesterday, wasn't it?
Oh, didn't I? I said the wrong one.
Yeah. So
yeah,
we got
Zest Town Hall is today at 11 a.m. Sorry, guys.
no worries. Just wanted to make sure. I was like, what? I had to look.
No, Hermetica hangout was yesterday. I should know. I was actually the featured guest.
Yeah, so in the Stacking Down Discord, yesterday I had to postpone the screen share, so we moved it until Friday at 1 p.m. We're gonna do a screen share there, but today in the Zest Discord we have a screen share at 1 p.m. And then we're also, we're doing a Stacking Down poker tournament on Saturday. The monthly Stacking Down poker tournament is going
I'm
down.
going to definitely register, and hopefully this time I'll remember and participate.
No, when is that? I want to come play poker.
That's on Saturday. So we get together on Saturdays.
Hey,
What time?
p.m. Is it 11 a.m.?
I think it's 11
Eastern
a.m.
time?
Eastern, yeah. So let me just double check and make sure that I scheduled it. I don't want to give you guys the wrong time. Let's see.
And Mel, you have Bitcoin and Beyond tomorrow?
I do indeed.
Who's coming on tomorrow?
Tomorrow is Louise from
Ryder?
Yeah.
Nice. He's awesome. I met him in Vegas, but he was sick. He might have actually made me sick. He's like, thank you for coming up. And then he talked to me about, he's like, the first thing he said to me was like, I'm not feeling good. I have a sore throat. And then, but he's really, it's such a great dude. Loved having him on our show when we had him on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I must actually just make a quick announcement now.
Right on. So catch Mel tomorrow.
Bitcoin and Beyond at 12 p.m. ET. You come and learn about Ryder.
12 p.m. ET tomorrow.
On my Twitter, on my YouTube. Sorry.
11 a.m. And we got to get it in the right studio this time. So it goes out to all the right channels.
How are you going to have clips if you don't know how to Ryder? Bitcoin and Beyond. 12 p.m. Eastern tomorrow.
Come and Ryder with me.
Follow up with them. I put an order in the middle of April.
Ryder.
I paid for it, but I have not received it. So I got to follow up with them.
What did you do?
You fell off the horse.
I fell off the horse, and I totally forgot. I paid like $240.
What was that?
I ordered a Ryder 1 back in April. It was supposed to come in 2 weeks. I was like, I'm going to be all cool in Vegas. I'll have my Ryder. I can like show it off to people. And then
didn't it arrive?
Yeah, I thought Luis was supposed to have a Ryder for you while you were out at Vegas.
That never stopped me, Trip.
What is Trip saying?
Ryder, I barely even know her.
Some of the best rides in my life.
There you go.
Anyway, so Bitcoin and Beyond tomorrow, Ryder.
Right on. Okay. Anything else, guys? Any last words?
Ride him. Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with that,
If that's what you're into. As long as everyone's nobody's being harmed.
Consenting.
Yeah, keep loving the room, all that good stuff. Keep going.
Right on. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you all for tuning in today. Thank you guys for joining me for some excellent conversation. I am PeaceLoveMusic. We are DeOrganized Media coming at you live on BitcoinLive, Decentralized broadcasting every Monday through Friday with all the news and information that you may or may not care to hear. But we're coming at you anyway. Peace out. Y'all have a blessed day.